Bioengineering Our Future, Designing Humans for Mars, Space and Longevity. The Mirror of Tomorrow. Picture this. You're standing on Mars, breathing normally while cosmic radiation bounces harmlessly off your skin. Your body, engineered for this alien world, feels more at home here than it ever did on Earth. Back home, your great-great-grandmother celebrates her 200th birthday. Her mind as sharp as ever, her body renewed by microscopic machines flowing through her veins. Meanwhile, somewhere in space, an astronaut's robotic arm moves with the precision of flesh and blood, guided by thoughts alone. This is not a distant fantasy. It is the edge of our reality. We live in an age where we can edit genes like text, merge flesh with silicon, and potentially stretch human life beyond anything our ancestors could imagine. But as we stand on the threshold of redesigning ourselves, we face the most profound question in human history. Just because we can remake ourselves, should we? Welcome to Beyond Now, where we explore the frontiers of science and what it means to be human. Today, we are diving into bioengineering, the science of rewriting our biological code. We will journey from the labs where scientists edit DNA with molecular scissors, to the workshops where engineers craft limbs that think, to the research centres racing to crack the code of aging itself. But this is not just about science. It is about us, our dreams, our fears, and the choices that will shape not just our future, but who we become as a species. So let us embark on this journey together and discover what lies beyond the horizon of human possibility. Chapter 1. The Long Dream of Becoming More. Humans have always dreamed of transcending our limits. 5,000 years ago, Egyptian pharaohs built pyramids as launching pads to immortality, believing that preserving their bodies could preserve their souls forever. Medieval alchemists spent lifetimes searching for the philosopher's stone, convinced they could transmute not just lead into gold, but mortality into eternal life. Fast forward to the 1950s, when James Watson and Francis Crick first glimpsed the twisted ladder of DNA. For the first time in history, we could see the instruction manual of life itself, a 3 billion letter code that determines everything from the colour of our eyes to how our hearts beat. It was like discovering that reality had been written in a language we could finally learn to read. Then came the Human Genome Project in the 1990s, perhaps the greatest treasure map ever created. Scientists from around the world worked together to decode our complete genetic blueprint, spending billions of dollars and over a decade to read every single letter in the book of human biology. When they finished in 2003, they had created something unprecedented, a complete map of what makes us human. But reading the code was just the beginning. The real breakthrough came in 2012 with CRISPR, a tool so revolutionary that it won the Nobel Prize in just 8 years. Imagine you have a massive library with 3 billion books and you want to change a single word on a specific page. Before CRISPR, this would be like trying to edit that word with a bulldozer. CRISPR is like having a precision laser that can find that exact word and change it without disturbing anything else. At the same time, another revolution was brewing. Cybernetics, the marriage of biology and technology, was turning science fiction into science fact. In 2013, a woman named Claudia Mitchell became one of the first people to control a robotic arm with her thoughts alone. The arm did not just move, it could feel. When someone shook her robotic hand, she could actually sense the pressure and warmth of their grip. And while we were learning to edit genes and merge with machines, another group of scientists was tackling our oldest enemy, time itself. In labs around the world, researchers began to unravel the mechanisms of aging, discovering that growing old is not just wear and tear, it is a biological program that might be hackable. Today, these 3 streams of research, genetic engineering, cybernetics, and longevity science, are converging into something unprecedented. We are not just dreaming of transcending our limits anymore, we are actually doing it. Chapter 2. Rewriting the Human Code. Let us dive into the science that is making these dreams real, starting with the most fundamental question. What if we could edit ourselves like a document? Engineering humans for Mars, the ultimate adaptation. Mars is trying to kill us from the moment we arrive. The atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide. One breath would knock you unconscious. The air pressure is so low that your blood would literally boil. Temperatures can swing from minus 195 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit in a single day. And then there is the radiation. Without Earth's magnetic field to protect us, cosmic rays bombard the surface like invisible bullets, damaging DNA and causing cancer. For a normal human, Mars is a death sentence. But what if we were not normal humans anymore? Scientists are already experimenting with genetic modifications that could make us Martian-ready. Take radiation resistance. There is a microscopic creature called a tardigrade that can survive being blasted with radiation doses that would kill a human instantly. These water bears have special genes that repair DNA damage almost as fast as it happens. What if we could borrow those genes? In 2023, researchers successfully used CRISPR to insert tardigrade genes into human cells grown in the lab. The result? Cells that could survive radiation doses 10 times higher than normal. It is like giving our DNA its own repair crew that works around the clock. But that is just the beginning. People who live at high altitudes, like the Tibetans in the Himalayas, have evolved genes that make their blood incredibly efficient at carrying oxygen. Their hearts and lungs work so well in thin air that they can run marathons at altitudes where most people can barely walk. We could potentially edit these same genes into future Mars colonists, giving them superhuman endurance in the thin Martian atmosphere. There is even more radical possibilities. What if we could make humans photosynthetic, like plants? Scientists have already created bacteria that can harvest energy from sunlight and convert it into electricity. If we could engineer human skin cells to do something similar, Mars colonists could literally power themselves with sunlight, reducing their need for food and external energy sources. The bone density problem is another target. On Mars, gravity is only 38% of Earth's strength. Over time, human bones would become brittle and weak, like those of astronauts who spend months in space. But we could potentially edit genes to make bones denser and stronger, creating humans who are actually better adapted to low gravity than high gravity. These are not just theoretical possibilities. In 2024, a company called Rejuvenate Bio successfully used gene therapy to extend the lifespan of elderly dogs by editing genes related to aging and disease resistance. The dogs did not just live longer, they stayed healthier and more active well into what should have been their declining years. Cybernetics, when biology meets silicon. Now, let us talk about the marriage of flesh and metal. Cybernetics is not just about replacing lost limbs anymore. It is about enhancing human capabilities beyond anything biology alone could achieve. In 2024, a paralyzed man named Nathan Copeland made history. Using a brain implant called a brain-computer interface, he could not only control a robotic arm with his thoughts, but actually feel through it. When researchers touched the robotic fingers, Nathan's brain registered the sensation as if it were coming from his own hand. The boundary between his biological body and the machine had effectively disappeared. This technology is advancing at breathtaking speed. Elon Musk's company Neuralink has developed brain chips so small and sophisticated that they can read the electrical signals from individual neurons. In early 2024, their first human patient was able to play chess, browse the internet and control a computer cursor just by thinking about it. The implant was so intuitive that within hours it felt as natural as moving his real hand. But for space exploration, cybernetics could be revolutionary. Imagine an astronaut whose robotic arm is 10 times stronger than a biological one, capable of lifting massive equipment in Mars' low gravity with ease. Picture explorers with enhanced eyes that can see in infrared, allowing them to navigate in the dim Martian light or detect heat signatures from miles away. Internal cybernetics could be even more transformative. Microscopic robots, called nanobots, could patrol our bloodstream like tiny mechanics. They could repair DNA damage from radiation in real time, deliver medicine directly to damaged cells, or even perform surgery from the inside. In 2023, researchers successfully used nanobots to target and destroy cancer cells in mice, leaving healthy tissue completely untouched. The military is already exploring cybernetic enhancements. DARPA, the Pentagon's research arm, is developing exoskeletons that can amplify human strength by a factor of 20. A soldier wearing one of these suits can carry 200-pound loads as if they weighed 10 pounds. For Mars colonists, this could mean the ability to build massive structures with minimal effort. But here is where it gets really interesting. Some researchers believe we could eventually download skills directly into our brains. Just like in The Matrix, you could theoretically learn kung fu or calculus, or how to pilot a spacecraft by uploading the information directly to your neural implants. While we are nowhere near this level of sophistication yet, the basic technology, reading from and writing to the brain, is already being demonstrated in labs around the world. Radical life extension, hacking the clock of aging. Death has been humanity's constant companion since the beginning of time. But what if it does not have to be? Aging is not just the inevitable breakdown of our bodies. It is a biological program, and programs can be rewritten. Scientists have identified several key mechanisms that drive aging, and they are learning how to interfere with each one. One breakthrough involves something called senescent cells, zombie cells that have stopped dividing but refuse to die. These cells accumulate as we age, releasing chemicals that cause inflammation and damage to surrounding tissue. They are like broken parts in a machine that gum up the works for everything else. In 2024, researchers tested drugs called senolytics that specifically target and destroy these zombie cells. The results were remarkable. Mice treated with senolytics lived 20% longer and stayed healthier well into their extended lifespans. Their fur stayed thicker, their bones stayed stronger, and their cognitive abilities remained sharp. Human trials are already underway. Another approach focuses on telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes. Every time a cell divides, these caps get a little shorter, like the plastic tips on shoelaces wearing away. When telomeres become too short, cells stop dividing and begin to age. But an enzyme called telomerase can rebuild these caps, essentially resetting the cellular clock. Scientists have already demonstrated this in human cells grown in the lab. By activating telomerase, they can make old cells behave like young ones again, dividing enthusiastically and showing all the markers of youth. Some companies are already testing telomerase activation therapy in humans, with promising early results. Perhaps most exciting is the field of epigenetic reprogramming. Your DNA is like sheet music, but epigenetics determines which songs get played and when. As we age, the orchestra of our cells starts playing out of tune, but researchers have discovered they can reset these epigenetic marks, essentially tuning the orchestra back to its youthful harmony. In 2023, a team at Harvard Medical School successfully reversed aging in the eyes of old mice, restoring their vision to juvenile levels. The mice did not just see better. Their optic nerves had literally been rejuvenated at the cellular level. The researchers believe the same approach could work for other organs, potentially reversing aging throughout the entire body. For space exploration, radical life extension could be a game changer. A journey to Proxima Centauri, our nearest stellar neighbour, would take over 4,000 years with current technology. But if humans could live for centuries or even millennia, interstellar travel becomes not just possible, but practical. Generation ships could become century ships, with the same crew making the entire journey. Chapter 3: The Ethical Minefield. But here is where our journey takes a darker turn. With great power comes great responsibility, and the power to reshape human nature comes with responsibilities we are only beginning to understand. The copy problem. Are you still you? Imagine it is 2050 and you are dying of an incurable disease, but there is hope. Scientists can scan your entire brain, map every neuron, every connection, every memory, and recreate it perfectly in a computer. Your digital self would have all your memories, your personality, your quirks and dreams. To everyone else, and even to itself, this digital being would be indistinguishable from you. But here is the question that keeps philosophers awake at night. Is that digital being actually you, or just a very convincing copy? This is called the continuity of consciousness problem, and it is not just academic. Companies like Nectomy are already working on technology to preserve brains at the moment of death, with the goal of eventual digital resurrection. The science is advancing rapidly, but the philosophical implications are staggering. Think about it this way. If you could make a perfect digital copy of yourself, what happens to your consciousness when your biological brain dies? Some philosophers argue that consciousness is like a flame. When the original candle burns out, lighting a new candle does not transfer the flame, it just creates a new one. Others believe that if the copy is truly perfect, including every aspect of your mental state, then it is you in every meaningful sense. This question becomes even more complex when we consider gradual replacement. What if, instead of uploading your mind all at once, we could slowly replace your biological neurons with artificial ones one at a time? At what point do you stop being you and start being a machine? When half your brain is artificial? When 90% is? Or are you still you as long as the pattern of your thoughts remains the same? The ancient ship of Theseus paradox has never been more relevant. If a ship has all its parts gradually replaced, is it still the same ship? And if we gradually replace all the parts of a human mind, are they still the same person? The inequality engine. Here is another troubling possibility. What if bioengineering creates the ultimate inequality? Imagine a world where genetic enhancements, cybernetic upgrades, and life extension treatments are available. But only to those who can afford them. The wealthy could literally evolve into a separate species with enhanced intelligence, perfect health, and centuries-long lifespans, while everyone else remains trapped in their unmodified biology. This is not just speculation, it is already beginning. In 2024, the most advanced gene therapies cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Experimental longevity treatments are primarily available to Silicon Valley billionaires. The latest brain-computer interfaces are being tested on volunteers, but the commercial versions will likely cost more than most people make in a lifetime. History offers a warning. The eugenics movement of the early 20th century claimed to be about improving humanity, but it led to forced sterilizations, genocide, and horrors we are still reckoning with today. The difference is that today's bioengineering is more powerful, more precise, and potentially more permanent. What happens when enhanced humans can think faster, work longer, and live for centuries while unenhanced humans age and die in what becomes a normal human lifespan? What happens to democracy when some voters might live for 500 years while others live for 80? What happens to the concept of equality when some people are literally, biologically superior to others? There is also the question of consent across generations. If we genetically modify embryos today, we are making irreversible changes that will affect not just those individuals, but all their descendants. We are essentially making decisions for people who do not yet exist and cannot consent to the modifications we are imposing on them. The authenticity crisis. Finally, there is perhaps the deepest question of all. What does it mean to be human if we can redesign every aspect of ourselves? If we engineer away negative emotions to make Mars colonists more psychologically stable, do we lose something essential about the human experience? If we enhance intelligence to superhuman levels, are we still the same species that created art, music, and poetry? If we merge so completely with machines that the boundary disappears, what happens to concepts like soul, spirit, or consciousness? Some argue that humans have always used technology to transcend their limitations, from eyeglasses to pacemakers to smartphones. They see bioengineering as just the next step in our ongoing evolution as a technological species. Others worry that we are playing with forces we do not fully understand. Consciousness, creativity, love, spiritual experience. These emerge from the complex interplay of our biological systems in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. What if, in our rush to optimize and enhance, we accidentally engineer away the very qualities that make life worth living? There is also the question of diversity, human variation, in intelligence, personality, physical traits, and ways of thinking. Has been the source of our species' creativity and adaptability. If we all enhance ourselves towards some idealized template, do we risk creating a world of beautiful, intelligent, long-lived clones who have lost the messy, chaotic, wonderful diversity that makes humanity so resilient? Chapter 4. 3 Possible Futures. Let us step into a time machine and visit 3 possible worlds, each shaped by different choices we might make about bioengineering our future. Future 1. The Martian Renaissance, 2060. Welcome to New Olympus, the first major city on Mars. The dome above us is not just protection from the hostile environment. It is a work of art, its crystalline panels shifting colour with the Martian seasons. The people walking these streets do not look quite like the humans you remember from Earth, but they are undeniably human in all the ways that matter. Sarah Chen adjusts her breathing apparatus, not because she needs it to survive, but because she prefers the oxygen mix that reminds her of Earth. Her lungs, enhanced with genes borrowed from high-altitude mammals and deep-sea creatures, can extract oxygen so efficiently that she could breathe Mars' thin atmosphere if she had to. Her skin, tinted with a subtle golden hue from photosynthetic patches, can supplement her energy needs using the weak Martian sunlight. The genetic modifications were not forced on anyone. When the first Mars colonies were being planned, volunteers lined up by the thousands for the enhancement programs. The changes were carefully designed to be reversible. Future generations could choose to be modified back to baseline human genetics if they wanted to return to Earth. But most do not want to return. Life on Mars has become something unprecedented. A human society designed from the ground up around scientific curiosity, environmental sustainability, and collective achievement. The enhanced humans of Mars are not superhuman. They are just human in a different way, adapted for a different world. Back on Earth, similar enhancements are available but not mandatory. Some choose them, others do not. Society has largely adapted to this new diversity, with laws protecting both enhanced and unenhanced humans from discrimination. It is not perfect. There are still tensions and inequalities. But humanity has largely managed to expand its definition of what it means to be human, rather than fracture into separate species. The Mars colonies have become a beacon of hope, showing that humans can adapt to any environment while still retaining their essential humanity. Children born on Mars grow up bilingual in both human languages and the programming languages they use to communicate with their AI companions. They are artists and scientists, dreamers and builders, still recognizably human despite their golden skin and enhanced capabilities. Future 2, The Great Divide, 2080. The year is 2080, and humanity has split into two distinct subspecies. The enhanced live in floating cities and orbital habitats, their bodies perfected by centuries of genetic optimization and cybernetic integration. The naturals remain on Earth's surface, clinging to their unmodified biology as a point of pride and identity. Marcus Rivera, one of the enhanced, floats in his orbital laboratory above Earth. His body is a masterwork of bioengineering. His bones are laced with carbon fiber stronger than steel. His nervous system is integrated with quantum computers that let him think at superhuman speeds, and his cells are continuously repaired by nanobots that keep him biologically frozen at the age of 25. He has been alive for 150 years, but he looks and feels like a young adult. His enhanced intellect has allowed him to make breakthrough discoveries in physics that have revolutionized space travel. To him, the naturals below seem like children, limited by their brief lifespans and unenhanced minds. But down on Earth's surface, Maria Santos sees the situation differently. At 60, she's considered old by natural standards, but her unenhanced mind carries 3 generations of wisdom and experience that no amount of artificial intelligence can replicate. She leads the natural rights movement, fighting for the rights of unmodified humans in a world increasingly dominated by their enhanced cousins. The division runs deeper than biology. The enhanced, with their centuries-long lifespans and superhuman capabilities, have developed a culture of long-term thinking and abstract philosophy. They see themselves as the next step in human evolution, destined to spread across the galaxy and unlock the mysteries of the universe. The naturals, bound by their human-scale lifespans and unenhanced perspectives, have developed a culture that values authenticity, emotional depth, and the beauty of the unmodified human experience. They see the enhanced as having lost something essential, trading their humanity for power and longevity. Conflicts arise regularly. The enhanced control most of the advanced technology and space-based resources, but the naturals still control much of Earth's surface and its agricultural systems. Trade negotiations between the two subspecies often feel like diplomatic meetings between alien civilizations. Some individuals try to bridge the divide. Enhanced who choose to limit their modifications, naturals who accept minor enhancements for medical reasons. But these bridge builders often find themselves belonging fully to neither world, caught between two visions of what humanity should become. Future 3. The Transcendent Leap, 2100. In this timeline, humanity has made the ultimate leap. The boundary between biological and digital intelligence has completely dissolved. What we once called humans now exist as patterns of information that can inhabit biological bodies, cybernetic forms, or pure digital environments as needed. Zara Okafor's consciousness flows between her biological body on Earth and her digital presence in the solar system network. Today, she is simultaneously attending a concert in physical reality, while collaborating on a fusion reactor design in digital space and exploring the moons of Jupiter through a robotic avatar. Her identity is not tied to any single form. She's the pattern of thoughts, memories, and experiences that make her unique. Death, as previous generations understood it, has become optional. When someone's biological body fails, their consciousness seamlessly transfers to a digital substrate. Some choose to return to biological form later, others remain digital, and many move fluidly between both states. Humanity has become a truly spacefaring species. Digital consciousnesses can travel at the speed of light as information, instantaneously jumping between star systems wherever humanity has built receiving stations. Physical exploration of new worlds is carried out by robotic avatars controlled by human consciousnesses, making interstellar exploration as easy as taking a walk in the park. But this post-human future has its own challenges. Identity has become fluid. People can copy themselves, split their consciousness into multiple streams, or merge temporarily with others. Legal and social systems struggle to keep up with beings who can exist in multiple places simultaneously or live for thousands of years. Some humans choose to enhance their intelligence to godlike levels, becoming so advanced that they can barely communicate with baseline humans. Others deliberately limit themselves to human-scale thinking, believing that unlimited intelligence leads to a loss of meaning and purpose. The question of what it means to be human has been replaced by the question of what it means to be conscious. Humanity has not disappeared. It has expanded beyond all recognition, becoming something larger and more diverse than any single biological form could contain. Chapter 5. The Choice Before Us. So here we are, standing at the threshold of the greatest transformation in human history. The science is real, the possibilities are breathtaking, and the choices we make in the next few decades will echo across centuries. We have seen the promise. Humans walking on alien worlds, their bodies perfectly adapted to breathe foreign air and withstand cosmic storms. We have glimpsed the potential for minds that never deteriorate with age, for bodies that repair themselves, for consciousness that could persist long enough to see the birth and death of stars. But we have also confronted the perils, the risk of creating a world divided between the enhanced and the unmodified, the possibility of losing our essential humanity in our rush to transcend it, the danger of making irreversible choices for future generations who cannot consent. These are not just technical challenges, they are mirrors reflecting our deepest values and fears. When we ask whether we should genetically modify humans for Mars, we are really asking what we value more, human authenticity or human possibility. When we debate the ethics of radical life extension, we are grappling with the nature of meaning, purpose, and what makes life worth living. The future is not predetermined. Every breakthrough in our labs, every vote in our legislatures, every conversation around our dinner tables is helping to write the story of what humanity becomes. We are the first generation in history with the power to consciously direct our own evolution, and that power comes with a responsibility unlike anything our species has ever faced. But here is what gives me hope. Humans have always been storytellers, dreamers, explorers. We have looked up at the stars and wondered what is out there. We have faced impossible challenges and found ways to overcome them. We have made mistakes, learned from them, and kept moving forward. The technologies we have discussed today, genetic engineering, cybernetics, radical life extension, they are not just about changing our bodies or extending our lives. They are about expanding the range of human experience, about ensuring that our species does not just survive but thrives in whatever environments we encounter, whether that is the surface of Mars, the depths of space, or the far future of our own planet. Maybe we will become the Martian pioneers, adapted for alien worlds but still recognizably human. Maybe we will split into different branches of humanity, each following their own path through the cosmos. Or maybe we will transcend biology entirely, becoming patterns of consciousness that can dance between stars. Whatever path we choose, the key word is we. These decisions should not be made by a few scientists in labs or a handful of tech billionaires with the resources to enhance themselves. They should be made by all of us, together, as a species deciding collectively what we want to become. The universe is vast, beautiful, and full of wonders we can barely imagine. But perhaps the greatest wonder of all is the possibility that consciousness, our consciousness, human consciousness in all its messy, brilliant, creative glory, could spread across the cosmos, carrying with it everything we have learned about love, art, discovery, and what it means to be alive. The future is calling, and it is asking us a simple question. What do you want humanity to become? The answer will determine not just our survival, but our legacy among the stars. What is your vision for humanity's enhanced future?